While metal detecting in their yard, someone unearthed what looks like a small copper dish. It has intricate patterns and appears to have been decorated with different colors, though it's now heavily weathered. What is this beautiful object? The community quickly identified this as a piece of cloisonné. This is an ancient metalworking technique where thin wires are soldered onto a metal object to create small compartments, or cloisons, which are then filled with colorful enamel. What a stunning piece of art to find just lying buried in the yard. This heavy, big, circular metal thing changes color from gray to red when soaked in water and left in the sun. One side is smooth. The finder wants to know what this metal is. Any ideas? The community's response was simple and direct. The metal is iron or steel, and the color change is just rust. When iron is exposed to water and oxygen, it oxidizes, forming iron oxide, which we call rust. While the finder was hoping for a more exotic metal, the science here is pretty straightforward. This complex assembly of steel and aluminum parts was found in a machine shop. It has hooks, gears, and arms, and looks like a critical part of a much larger machine. Does anyone recognize this mechanism? This was quickly identified by someone with farming experience. It is a knotter assembly from a hay baler. This incredibly clever mechanical device is responsible for automatically tying the twine or wire around a completed bale of hay. It's a marvel of mechanical engineering that has been used for decades. This metal stand with arms that lift up and down was purchased at an estate sale. It's about a foot square, and the top piece is detachable. A reverse image search suggested a book stand, but it doesn't seem functional for that purpose. What is this ornate item? The leading theory is that this is an antique silver-plated book mill, or more likely, a decanter stand from the 1800s. These elaborate stands were used to display fancy bottles of alcohol on a bar. This one appears to be missing a wooden base and perhaps other components that would have held the decanters in place. Still, it's a beautiful piece of history. This bowed, black plastic piece turned up in an apartment. It's about 12 inches long and 1 inch wide, with 2 hooks on one side and 5 oval indents. The hooks have a wood grain-like texture. There are no identifying marks. What is this thing? The most likely explanation is that this is a cable management clip for a flat-screen TV mount. It would clip onto the back of the mount's arm, and the hooks would hold HDMI and power cables neatly in place, preventing them from dangling behind the television. It probably just popped off and was forgotten. While clearing an overgrown area in a backyard, the new homeowners found a buried, semi-smooth, concrete-sloped surface with a metal chain embedded in it. There was also metal slag and burnt wood nearby. What could this structure have been? This one is a true mystery, and the community was stumped without more information, specifically the location. Suggestions ranged from an old forge or kiln to part of an abattoir to a foundation for heavy farm equipment. The chain suggests something needed to be tied down securely. Are there any industrial archaeologists who have seen something similar? This object was found in a garage. It's an extremely heavy piece of metal, measuring 17 by 14 inches. It's flat on top with some sort of structural support underneath. The original poster guessed it might be a stand for something. Any other ideas? While not the most exciting theory, the community overwhelmingly suggests this is simply a heavy-duty metal plate, possibly used as a base for machinery or as a welding surface. Its weight and construction suggest it was designed to withstand significant force or heat. While some hoped for a more complex answer, others argue its simplicity is its purpose. Which side of the debate are you on? This very strange container was bought at an estate sale. It's made of rusted iron, weighs about 5 pounds, and has a reservoir with an off-kilter dish on top, plus a hanging hook and a handle. The design seems counterintuitive. What was it made for? The best guess is that this is a ladle for pouring molten lead. In the past, lead was used for plumbing, casting bullets, and creating fishing weights. The heavy iron construction would withstand the high temperatures, and the spout would allow for a precise pour. If this is correct, it's a tool from a bygone era of hands-on craftsmanship. While metal detecting in a field in southeastern Poland, This object was unearthed. It's made of two separate, non-magnetic, dark metal pieces linked together. The finder is curious if it could be related to the World Wars. Does anyone recognize it? The internet detectives believe this is a type of fastener for clothing, possibly from a heavy coat or a piece of military gear. It would function like a hook-and-eye clasp, but much more robust. While its exact age and origin are unknown, this type of hardware was common on uniforms and outerwear. It's a small but personal piece of history. This metallic object was found in a random box. It's about 15 centimeters long, magnetic on the narrow end, and weighs about 1 to 2 kilograms. After removing a screw, a hollow part was revealed inside. What is this heavy-duty component? The internet detectives suggest this is a custom fluid transfer coupling, noting that it has what looks like a Marmon flange. This type of connection is used to create a strong, sealed joint between pipes or tubes, often in automotive or industrial applications where high pressure is involved. Are there any mechanical engineers watching who can confirm this? In the laundry room of a new house, there's a strange rubber tube coming out of the floor. It has a metal U-shape at the top that goes down inside the wall. It can be moved a little, but not pulled out. What is this mystery pipe for? After some investigation, the homeowner solved this one. The tube was a condensate drain line from the furnace. High-efficiency furnaces produce water as a byproduct of combustion, and this tube safely carries it to a drain. The U-shape at the top is a trap to prevent sewer gases from coming back up the line. This object, found on a beach in France, looks like a combination of copper and stone or hard clay. It's a few inches long and seems to be some kind of technical component. What could it be? The best guess is that this is part of an early electrical fuse or a similar component like a knife switch contact. The combination of a ceramic insulator and a copper conductor is very typical for old, high-current electrical hardware. If this is correct, it's a fascinating piece of early electrical engineering history. This is a 4¼ inch long, tweezer-like item with a celluloid or bakelite handle. The tweezer blades are very short, only 3/8 of an inch long, making them seemingly useless for plucking. What is this delicate tool for? The leading theory is that this tool is used in jewelry making, specifically for handling fine chains or setting small stones. The short, precise jaws would be ideal for manipulating tiny links or components without damaging them. Are there any jewelers watching who can confirm its use? A dense, 12-pound mass that seems like a mix of stone and wood was found next to a river in central Ohio. It has crumbling, folding layers and some outdented writing on it. What could this bizarre object be? The most plausible explanation is that this isn't a single object, but rather the hardened residue from the bottom of a metal bucket or barrel that has completely rusted away. The writing could be from the original container's base, which imprinted itself onto the contents as they solidified over many years. This is a fascinating example of how nature can create a mysterious artifact out of ordinary decay. This heavy, brass, bullet-shaped item was found in a garage of a house built in the 1920s. It is not drilled all the way through and has no visible markings or threads. It has remained a mystery for years. What could it be? The best guess from the community is that this is a vintage hose nozzle. Older nozzles were often made of solid brass and had simpler designs than modern ones. The lack of threads might suggest it was a quick connect style that simply pushed onto the end of a hose and was held by friction or a simple clamp. Are there any antique tool experts who recognize this specific style? This antique metal device with handles about 2 feet long was found in a rural setting. Opening and closing the handles moves the complex metal mechanism at the end, but its function is a total mystery. What is this tool for? The community's best guess is that this is a tool for crimping standing seam metal roofing panels. The mechanism at the end would fold and lock the edges of 2 adjacent metal sheets together, creating a watertight seal. This specialized tool would have been essential for old-school roofers. It's an amazing find from the world of vintage construction tools. While metal detecting on an island in Ontario, Canada, this decorative chunk of iron was found. It's about 5 inches long, 3 inches wide, and weighs approximately 1 pound. It has ornate, swirling patterns. What was it once attached to? The best guess is that this is a decorative piece that broke off an old cast-iron pot-bellied stove. These stoves, common in the 19th and early 20th centuries, were often adorned with fancy scrollwork like this. It's a beautiful fragment of a once essential household item. A black metal rod is hanging from the ceiling in the middle of an apartment. It's very stiff and bolted at the ends, with a hook in the middle. It's too short to be a room divider and doesn't match the actual curtain rods. What is its purpose? The internet community had a very specific and confident theory about this one. They suggest it is an anchor point for bondage or suspension activities. The stiff construction, central location, and heavy-duty mounting are all consistent with equipment designed to support a person's weight. While it might be startling, it's the most plausible explanation given the evidence. This object is the metal bottom half of a dog with a circular opening. A family has been passing it around as a gag gift for years, calling it dog butt. The current owner wants to solve the mystery and find the rest of the dog. What is it? The internet detectives suggest this is a name card holder for a dinner party. The full object would have been a complete dog, and a magnet in the middle would hold a small paper name card for place settings. While most agree on this, some think it could be part of a figurine or a business card holder. Which theory do you think is correct? This magnetic object, weighing about 10 pounds, was found at a scrapyard. It's a solid, heavy chunk of metal with no other distinguishing features. The finder is simply curious about what it could be. Any ideas? The community's response to this was one of caution. Finding unidentified heavy metal objects at scrapyards can be risky, as they could potentially be shielded radioactive material from medical or industrial equipment. The top comment was not an identification, but a strong recommendation to get a Geiger counter to check it for radiation before handling it further. My dog threw this up this morning. It's a lightweight plastic piece about half the size of my thumb, with the letters PED on one side of a notch and the number 3 on the other. It was found in an older apartment building. What could this strange object possibly be? The leading theory is that this is a universal key for a commercial paper towel or toilet paper dispenser. These plastic keys are often used by custodial staff to refill dispensers in public restrooms or apartment common areas. The dog probably found it on the floor and thought it was a toy. If this is correct, it's a surprisingly common item that most of us never get to see. I found a pair of very stiff metal wires, double wrapped together from end to end. One wire is shorter and has a smaller diameter than the other. It feels like a very specific, technical component. What could this possibly be used for? The leading theory is that this is an old-school thermocouple, perhaps from a furnace or similar heating appliance. A thermocouple is made of two dissimilar metals that generate a voltage in response to temperature changes. This voltage can then be measured to determine the temperature. It's a fascinating piece of old technology. Does this look like a thermocouple to any HVAC technicians out there? This weird double magnet was found on the side of a car. It has 2 blocks with opposing poles and 2 prongs on either end. There's a letter R on one side. The prongs make it seem like it's designed to spin. What is its purpose? The leading theory is that this is part of a magnetic clasp or closure, possibly from a piece of equipment or a case. The prongs might allow it to clip into a housing, and squeezing the 2 halves together could be part of a release mechanism. The mystery of why it was on a car, however, remains unsolved. This object is a copper lid, covered in what looks like green lead paint, and it was found with an identical brass one. The underside is very dirty, suggesting it was exposed to heat or soot. What could it be? The most popular theory is that this is a stove eye cover for an old wood-burning or coal stove. These covers were placed over the cooking holes on the stovetop when they weren't in use to help regulate heat and keep the surface clean. Finding a matching pair is a great little piece of antique kitchen history. A number of copper alloy discs were found in the woods near high voltage lines and TV antennas. Each is about 45 millimeters in diameter, weighs 15 grams, and has several holes in it. What are these strange metal tokens? This one remains a deep mystery, as the original post was removed before a consensus could be reached. The proximity to power lines and antennas suggests they could be some kind of tag, marker, or even a component related to electrical grounding or radio frequency interference. Without more context, it's hard to say for sure. What do you think they could be? This small metal container is approximately 2 inches long with no identifying engravings. It opens at a seam in the middle, revealing a hollow interior. What was it designed to hold? The most popular guess is that this is a vintage needle case. These small protective containers were very common in sewing kits to keep needles safe, organized, and prevent them from getting lost or rusting. While some suggested it could be for toothpicks, the size and style are much more consistent with a needle case. A small, strange metal piece was discovered during landscaping work in a backyard. It's only a couple of inches long but has distinct threads on one end, suggesting it screws into something. What is this little bit of hardware? The leading theory is that this is a gas fitting, most likely from a propane grill. It appears to be a brass orifice or connector that would regulate the flow of gas to one of the burners. It probably fell off an old grill that was once in the yard. Are there any grill masters or plumbers who recognize this specific part? This flat, thin metal disc is about 3 inches in diameter and was found on the banks of the Missouri River. It's highly weathered, but shows a spread eagle figurine in the middle with defined fingers and shoes. What could this strange medallion be from? The community is intrigued by this one. The leading guess is that it was part of a child's toy, perhaps a spinner, a shield for an action figure, or a decorative piece from a toy vehicle. Its cartoonish design and cheap-looking plating make a toy the most likely origin. Without the rest of the toy, its exact purpose remains a fun mystery. Underneath a window of a newly purchased home, there are 3 mysterious wires. They are not on any other windows. The house was built in 1998. What is the purpose of these wires? The community consensus is that these are the wires for an old hardwired alarm system's magnet switch. A sensor on the window and a magnet on the frame would tell the system if the window was opened or closed. This technology is a bit dated now, with wireless systems being more common, but it was standard for homes built in the 90s. This plastic, jug-like object was found on the side of the road. It has measurements on the side, but the spout is so low that it can't be filled to the top without spilling. The design seems incredibly flawed. What is it? The leading theory is that this is an indoor watering can that is simply missing its long, thin metal spout. The spout would have attached to the low opening, allowing the user to reach plants easily and pour accurately. Without that key piece, its design is indeed baffling. A small, round brass object about an inch in diameter was found on a beach. It has several holes and appears to be a threaded cap of some kind. The finder was hoping it came from an old ship. What is it? The community identified this as a lid for the hose connections on a marine fuel tank. It would be threaded into the top of a boat's gas tank. The various holes are for the fuel line, a vent line, and sometimes a fuel level sender. Finding it on a beach makes the marine connection almost certain. While using a microscope, someone discovered a perfect 0.1 millimeter sphere. A single strand of hair is shown next to it for reference. What could this tiny, perfectly round object be? The most likely explanation is that this is a single bead of silica gel. These tiny spheres are a desiccant, meaning they absorb moisture and are commonly found in small packets, included with electronics, shoes, and other products to keep them dry. It's amazing to see something so common magnified to this level of detail. In a local field being cleared for construction, a bizarre brick structure stands alone. It's about 1 meter square, with an opening at the top made of stone that might have once had a metal cover. It seems ancient and out of place. What was its original purpose? The best guess is that this is the top of an old, hand-dug well. Before modern plumbing, structures like this were essential for accessing water. The brickwork would have served as a wellhead to prevent collapse and keep debris out. Finding this is like uncovering a piece of the land's hidden history. What an incredible discovery from a time long past. This small, 6-sided silver object was found in a house, and its owner has no idea what it is. It's vaguely shaped like a barn, with a strange, specific design on the front and back. Is this just a random piece of junk, or does it belong to something important? Reddit users suggest this is an end cap for a kitchen appliance handle like a refrigerator or a dishwasher. These decorative caps often cover the screws that hold the handle in place and can pop off over time. While this seems like a solid theory, it's hard to be certain without knowing the brand. Are there any appliance repair experts watching who can confirm this design? This plastic object was left behind in a university flat by the previous tenants. It has a long handle, and the end of it can open and close with a lever mechanism. The current residents thought it might be some kind of mop. Can anyone identify it? The community is quite certain that this is a sponge mop handle. The lever and swinging lower flap are designed to squeeze water out of a rectangular sponge head, which is now missing. When the lever is in line with the handle, the mechanism stays out of the way. While most agree on its function, the exact design seems hard to find online. Is this a common model or something more obscure? A small white box, approximately 5 by 5 inches, was installed above the entryway door to an apartment with no notice. There are no visible buttons or wires, and the tenant has no idea what it's for. What is this mysterious box? The most popular guess is that this is simply a wireless doorbell chime box. The actual doorbell button outside would send a signal to this unit, which contains the speaker that makes the chime sound. It's likely battery-powered, which is why there are no visible wires. The easiest way to confirm would be to pop the cover off and see what's inside. This strange wooden box was found at an antique shop. It's about 20 inches on each side and 4 inches deep, with dowels and metal wire stretched across the bottom. The shop had it labeled as an egg carrier, but that seems unlikely. What is its real purpose? The leading theory is that this is some type of sifter. The wire mesh bottom would allow fine particles like flour, grain, or even soil to pass through, while holding back larger clumps or debris. Tools like this were common on farms and in old kitchens. The egg carrier label was likely just a guess from the antique dealer. This large metal object was dug up from the site of a defunct 1940s Air Force base in Canada. It's estimated to be about 4 feet long and appears to be part of a larger mechanical assembly. What is this piece of military history? The leading guess is that this is a set of door rollers for a massive aircraft hangar. The heavy-duty wheels would have run along a track on the ground or overhead, allowing the enormous doors to be opened and closed. Given the location, this theory makes perfect sense. It's a tangible connection to the history of the airbase. A whole bag of these plastic pronged shapes in green, blue, and yellow was found in a scout hut cupboard. They have different numbers of arms and look like some kind of strange connector or game piece. What are they? The internet has a clear answer for this one. These are called runners or sprues, and they are the waste plastic from an injection molding process. Molten plastic is injected into a mold through these channels to fill the cavities that form the actual product. After the product is made, these runners are broken off and discarded. This is a perfect square, about 1 inch by 1 inch, and very lightweight. It was found in a bathroom in its original unlabeled packaging. It has no smell, but it started to dissolve when placed in water. What is this mystery tablet? The leading guess is that this is a very old piece of candy or flavorless bubblegum. Over decades, the flavor oils and scents in a candy can completely dissipate, leaving behind a chalky, odorless tablet. The fact that it dissolves in water strongly supports the theory that it's made of sugar. This is a 2-inch diameter black plastic cylinder with spokes in the middle. It's just under 1.5 inches tall and has tiny raised bumps around the edges. It was found in a room that was formerly an accounting office. What is its purpose? The most plausible explanation is that this is a divider insert for a desktop pencil or pen holder. It would fit inside a cup or canister, and the spokes would keep pens, pencils, and other office supplies separated and standing upright. It's a simple but clever piece of office organization. This is a slightly curved metal covering with attachment points on either end for wing nuts. It has the words "opening for ladies attachment" embossed on the front. The context of where it was found is a complete mystery. What is this thing? This one is quite strange, and the tight cropping of the photo made it difficult for the community to solve. The phrase, opening for ladies attachment, strongly suggests it's related to a vintage bicycle seat, specifically a saddle. Some older bike seats had different attachments or springs for men's and women's models. This cover likely went over the springs or frame. What was the weirdest object for you? Let me know in the comments and share this to test your friends. If you love uncovering these mysteries, hit like and subscribe. Your support helps us find more curious explorers like you. Stay curious.